moves, and what do you have to focus on defensively to try to slow him down?
I mean, it's elite shot making at all levels. You know, a long frame to where, you know, most of his shots come down to does he make or miss it? Because where he elevates and where he releases the ball, you know, there's very few defenders that can impact his makes and misses. So you got to do the job with him early, try to keep him off his sweet spots. But, I mean, you know, he's so dynamic of a scorer and can hurt you so many different ways. He's got great footwork, pump fakes, you know, knows how to get to the free throw line, you know, athleticism to get all the way to the rim. So, I mean, he can just, you know, he can hurt you at all levels offensively.
With Sam, as defenses start to get more attuned to him and cover him even harder, what are some things or some skills that you have seen out of him, you know, off ball, things that he can be doing as defenses start to cover him differently?
Well, I mean, he's not just one-dimensional. You watch him, and, you know, he's highly intelligent. He knows how to cut. He knows how to turn corners and get to the basket, either finish at the rim or kick out to one of his teammates. He knows how to use his gravity to help his teammates get open, which I think is key because people are going to be so worried about him, you know, that his teammates are going to be able to get slips and get cheap ones. You know, he's a good screen setter, and people don't want to leave his body because, you know, of his impact. So now, you know, defenders are in a tough situation where their guy, you know, who he set the screen on has no help, and now they're coming off plays open. So I think he just has he has a knack for it, but understands how to play 5-on-5, and it's not just about him.
Chris.
Hey, JB.
What's up, Chris?
Since that second Boston game, you've had an uptick in threes. How much of that is personnel related, matchup related? What is contributing to that?
I mean, it's again, a lot of it has to do with personnel. Obviously, we have guys that we believe that, you know, are capable of making threes. You know, a lot of that has to do with, you know, being down bodies and how your offense becomes more efficient and how you use the three-point shot as a weapon more. You know, I think we've been trying to implement that just to try to uptick our scoring some. But I think it's, you know, it's a combination of things.
Obviously, you know, you've talked throughout the course of this year about how you pride yourself in defense first. But, like, during this stretch where you don't have a defensive player of the year candidate in Evan, have you in any way had to shift your thinking as a coach to be more offensive driven given the personnel changes?
Yeah, I mean, you always, you know, want to hold people to a standard defensively, and we try to hold our guys to that. You know, great defenses start with great individual players, so when you're missing one of those guys, it's going to have an impact. You know, so you do know that you've got to find other ways to win. And, you know, obviously they keep, you know, track of points for a reason. And, you know, so we're trying to find ways to be more dynamic offensively. You know, that goes back to the threes and those types of things and shot efficiency. But, yeah, we've, you know, continued to work on our offense, understanding kind of where we're missing.
Thank you.
Hi, JB. How you doing?
What's up? Good. How are you?
Is there anything more rewarding as a coach than to see a kid that, not a kid, but a player that gets an opportunity and get the chance and then they succeed?
Yeah, that's what this league is about. You know, it's been pretty interesting as you've seen over the years, like when guys even, you know, who expect to be drafted get drafted and they're balling, right? Because like this is a dream come true for all of these guys. You know, some of the guys like we talk about, you know, the highly touted, highly recruited guys, you know, who may think, you know, who know they're going to be there one day, versus guys who have to really earn it and get it the hard way, you know, like Sam has done. And, you know, anytime you have an opportunity, again, to just witness that, you know, just the human spirit is uplifted because, you know, you watch someone, you know, not only have success, but like, you know, literally their dream is coming true in front of you. And just as a human being, you know, I mean, like, you know, the story and how difficult that is. You know, this job in particular, to be one of like 450 people on the planet, how hard that is to accomplish. You know, so give credit to him for all the work and the perseverance. But, you know, it's fun to just sit back and watch when you have time and think about the big picture of, you know, not just the basketball, but the human aspect of sport and how difficult it is for people to achieve their dreams and then watch them do it is really fun.
Evan Damar, right down Euclid. JD, 4 games in now without Evan and Darius. What have you seen from your team just kind of handling bit of that adversity, just so many guys just kind of going down, whether it's the injury or illness in Donovan's case?
I mean, they're just stepping up. You know, they know that their teammates, just because they're out, you know, don't want them to be successful. And they're doing it for the guys that are out. This is a long-term plan for us, right? 82 games is a long season. You know, these small pockets are going to matter at some point in time, and we expect those guys to be back. And our guys don't want to put them in a position where we're scratching and clawing for our lives. So they're going out, they're competing their tails off. You know, what I'm enjoying so much is just watching how they're doing it together. You know, everybody who played last game had an assist. You know, I mean, like, they're sharing the game offensively. They're competing for one another defensively. So that's what's been, you know, really uplifting for us as coaches, is to watch them just band together and go out and scrap and compete like that.
And when it comes to guys like Sam or even Craig, when the team gets healthier, there's going to be less minutes available for everyone. How difficult is that conversation for those guys who have had a bit of shine just because an unfortunate situation kind of put them in that spot?
I mean, you know, again, those conversations don't just happen on the day that it needs to happen. Those are conversations that you have from training camp, you know, on. Like, when you have a deep team, everybody doesn't get a chance to play. When you have a team, you know, in our case where we have, you know, very similar sized guys, you know, there's just not minutes for all of them to be able to play. And, you know, you want to do what's right by them all, but it's difficult. You know, giving guys 3 minutes here or 3 minutes there, you know, that's unfair to them at times to not allow them to catch their rhythm. You know, so again, it's part of the conversations that we have from the beginning. It's the character of the guys and their willingness to sacrifice and their professionalism to be ready when their number's called.
Joe?
How long does it take to get on a scouting report?
I mean, it depends on, you know, what you do. You know, I think a guy like Sam, that's who we're thinking about, when you shoot the ball and you're that big of a threat, you know, I think it's automatic. You know, it's one game, and then it's, you know, coaches anyway are on high alert. I think, you know, it's funny for players, it might take a little bit longer for respect because they feel like, you know, you've got to do it and earn it. Where, you know, us as coaches, you know, we hit that button quick because we're aware of how quickly a guy like that can hurt you. So for coaches, I think, you know, when you got a guy who's raining threes the way that Sam is, you're on high alert for that guy.
Because you've had two players now. You had Porter and now Sam, who, when they're thrust into action for the first time, they're great.
Mm-hmm.
How do you know as coaches that they will be able to stay at that level, or if they can stay at that level when the other side starts to pay attention and game plan to stop their game?
Well, I think it's the moment, and it's the type of player that they are. You know, we're not going to ask Craig or Sam to go out and score 30 points a night. What you look to see is, can they play in complementary roles to, you know, your best players? And what you've seen is that translates, right? When Donovan was out and Craig and Darius were playing together, you saw them work well together. I keep thinking about that Philly game where Craig was huge for us down the stretch and helped us finish that game. And then obviously what Sam has done, you know, translates with those guys when they're on the floor. So I think it's more about, you know, does that skill translate to opportunity when you're playing with your best players? And I think those guys have shown that it does.
Last one, Ethan.
Jamie, you talked about the importance of the assists, especially last game. You get everybody had an assist. You guys also had a season high for assists. How important is it for when you guys have the shooters on the floor to be able to facilitate and keep the defense on its heels?
Well, I think that's what, you know, NBA defenses force you to do, right? NBA defenses that are any good, they take away your paint. And if you go play in small spaces, you're going to turn the ball over at a high clip, right? But if you are willing to make the extra pass, and, you know, to be frank with you, that's what most defenses count on you not being willing to do. You know, they think most teams, you know, get a little selfish and want to take their own shot and create for themselves. And that's why everybody plays that way. But if you're willing to get off of it, you can make them pay. And I think that's something that we've got to continue to do. And I think we've been doing it pretty consistently lately.
Okay, just going to wrap for Coach.